Ma'am, is this, you gotta be kidding me, is this the boys section too?
That is for boys.
Now, if this ain't pushing the agenda, I don't know what is. This is sick.
Target is facing intense backlash over some of its LGBT pride merchandise.
Target, which was pushing all sorts of trans quote-unquote pride merchandise, which literally included items for young boys to tuck their genitals. So if they didn't want to appear to be boys, they could appear to be girls.
There are people who practice homosexuality, but there is nothing in the world, nothing that demonstrates that there is a class or category of people who are immutably and unchangeably homosexuals, just like I'm immutably and unchangeably a black person. It doesn't exist, although the majority of you out there believe that it does, because you've been told over and over and over and over.
Christian conservatives are calling to boycott Target after one of the company's pride partners made light of Satanism, with one of the brand's merchandise reading, "Satanism respects pronouns." This comes as the retail giant is ramping up their pride-related merchandise.
Eric, a self-proclaimed gay trans man, to design some of its clothing for Pride Month. After a quick look through Eric's Instagram, we learned something pretty interesting. He has an obsession with Satanism. Eric also uses some pretty violent imagery. He has a burn down the system lighter, a we bash back mace, and time's up for the transphobes skull pins. And in March, he said that in order to, quote, keep the transphobes at bay, we must eradicate them.
They've been pushing, as we mentioned on the show, trans propaganda to children. They actually pushed a swimming suit that has tuck abilities, for boys who want to pretend they're girls.
I was shopping at Target yesterday, and this is what I seen. People always say, don't push your agenda on people. Don't push your beliefs on people. But this ain't pushing your belief on people. They will say, this is just for the adults. This is baby clothes, kids clothes. This agenda is for everybody. Wake up.
So many stories I've known all my life. I knew it when I was a boy. I knew it when I was a little girl. No, you didn't. You didn't even have sexual thoughts of those kind when you were a little boy or a little girl. You didn't even develop sexually back then. How could you possibly have known about your sexual orientation? That's a ridiculous lie. And we let people get away with it all the time.
As Pride Month rolls around again, Target has put out its Pride-themed clothing collection to be displayed at the front of stores. But this year, they've gone too far. Target's Pride collection has always been a source of controversy in mainstream society, but usually it's about the level of tackiness and fashion blunders that the Pride line has that year. From jumpsuits that literally just say gay across the back, or a pride dress that looks more like an art teacher's maternity gown, Target's Pride fashion line has had its share of fashion crimes. This year, the controversy reaches a larger audience, as onlookers are divided on how to approach two facets of Target's new line of Pride gear, leaving even woke people questioning if Target's motivations are pure. Stay until the end to hear what happens. Target began its temporary Pride Month line sometime in the mid-2010s, but it hadn't reached any kind of controversy until 2021. This is when the brand started making, to be kind, questionable fashion design choices, most of it ending up in the clearance aisle by July 1st. Ever since that year, Target's Pride collection has been like the Met Gala of the corporate world, with social media reviews of the good, the bad, and the really ugly hitting Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook by June 2nd. This year, fashion blunders are the least of the public's worries when it comes to the 2023 line. Firstly, Target's new edition of tuck-friendly bathing suits as part of their collection turned plenty of heads, even by non-believing Target shoppers. Now, if you don't know what tuck-friendly means, you're gonna have to go figure that out on your own. Now, it wasn't just the tucking bathing suits that concerned people, it was the fact that they seemed to be offered in kids' sizes. Hysteria swirled throughout social media as people attacked Target's CEO for introducing this concept to minors, contributing to the rising belief that adults are indoctrinating minors into confusion about their gender identity. Target immediately put these claims to rest, saying that the bathing suits were only offered in adult sizing, but their advertising online said different. The models they used to sport these new bathing suits definitely looked like children to viewers, with them accusing Target of trying to cover it up in an effort to save their money and reputation. After all, they did lose an estimated $9 billion in the week following the controversy. Despite their defenses to their design choices, Target did choose to remove this part of their collection from stores, now only offering it online. Instead of taking accountability for their questionable advertising, their reasoning for removing the merchandise was that we've experienced threats impacting our team members' sense of safety and well-being while at work. Now, if you're not a Christian and you're thinking we're just being homophobic by slamming the gays and trans people of America, that's not what we're arguing about here. Let's look at it from a non-Christian perspective. Gays Against Groomers is a non-profit organization that works to combat the indoctrination and medicating of minors through LGBTQ ideals, made up almost completely of gay people. This year, the organization took to Twitter to speak out against what Target is doing to young children, allowing them to be indoctrinated by parents and others at an extremely young age. Target is selling a wide range of pride-forward apparel for children as young as toddlers, featuring onesies and bibs with pride phrases on them. Here's what the organization says on the matter. We urge you to take your business elsewhere. They are indoctrinating and grooming them with LGBTQ ideology. It is highly inappropriate and disturbing. The only thing these people understand is money. Probably the most disturbing is the t-shirts in the kids section that literally have naked women, transgender women, and non-binary people on it. As we know, toddlers don't walk in a store and decide what clothes they want to wear. Now, adults have the option to literally display naked bodies on their children. As the organization points out, this is obviously indoctrination and an invitation for confusion in kids surrounding these topics that are way too complicated for them to understand fully. At this point, non-Christian organizations are starting to see how dangerous this can be for the minds of children, inviting them to try and comprehend things like identity, sexuality, and gender issues before they're even old enough to drive a car. This is only the beginning of the Target scandal, as they have been met with controversy after controversy this year. The most disturbing thing that Target has done to date is partnering with a Satanist collaborator on their Pride gear. Eric Carnell, owner of the brand Apralin, was invited to collaborate with Target on some of their Pride items for the 2023 Pride Month showcase. The collaboration produced 3 items: a sweatshirt that said, "Cure transphobia, not trans people," a tote bag that said, "Too queer for here," and a cosmetics bag that read, "We belong everywhere." Each merchandise features bright pastel colors and graphic designs, and customers were first pleased with the collaboration. However, Target was quick to remove these items from stores and online as people researched Eric Carnell and his brand. Eric Carnell is an openly gay transgender man, but that's not the thing that set off alarm bells for people. It was the fact that Eric Carnell is most popular for his satanic merchandise, releasing items that say things like, "My guardian angel is trans." When the guardian angel pin was released, the caption read, "Biblically accurate angel, but make it trans." Although many people support gay rights, they don't support mocking a religion for sales and profit. Carnell denies being a Satanist, but the fact that he uses satanic and religious imagery to mock Christianity and create shock appeal for financial gain is saddening. Target claimed that they removed Carnell's merchandise from their stores and online because of the volatile circumstances surrounding their employees and the reaction people had to the collection. Eric Carnell also released a statement regarding the removal of his collection, saying that it is a common trope to accuse LGBT+ people of immoral or illegal activities in order to discredit them, regardless of the truth behind the matter. This came with his denial that he marketed his apparel to children or that he was a Satanist. But these accusations come from his actions and what he has chosen to post on the internet, and nothing else. If Carnell wasn't trying to push a satanic agenda, why would he post to Instagram wearing goat horns, a collar, and a shirt decorated with the phrase, "Satan respects pronouns"? Upon his initial release of this item specifically, the caption read, "Satan respects pronouns and he loves who you are. Satan accepts people of all, several, and no genders. He appreciates gender nonconformity. He loves trans and non-binary people. Hail yourself." This is a classic case of actions speak louder than words. If you want people to believe you aren't a Satanist, stop acting like one. Target is among other companies that have been under fire for their advertising choices, the most popular being Bud Light's recent drop in revenue for their collaboration with Dylan Mulvaney, a transgender social media influencer, with sales dropping by 26% in the week following the release of their new advertisement stunt. While these companies thought that these types of collaborations would bring in revenue by standing with marginalized groups, it invited themselves into a divisive political and religious conversation that they didn't foresee. Specifically with Bud Light, their choice in collaboration was meant to bring in a new customer base while rejecting their current customers, causing the extreme decline that we're seeing now. These companies want to participate in a divisive conversation without any of the fallout. This is why Target dipped their toe in the waters of transgender collaborations and quickly backpedaled once they started to lose money. Now, let's address Target's statement about the safety and well-being of their employees. While it would have been nice for Target to take more accountability for what they chose to showcase in their stores, we can't dismiss their reasoning for removing the merchandise. To go into more detail, Target and Eric Carnell have stated that they received death threats for the collaboration, amongst Target's other choices regarding their Pride collection. We don't know whether this is true or not, but Christians should never be threatening the lives of those who persecute and mock us. Meeting hatred with hatred is not what God intends for us to do, especially when He calls us to be a witness to His love and grace. Threats of violence will never bring non-believers into God's kingdom, which should always be our goal. Luke 6:27-28. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. We live in a fallen, lost, and confused world. Weaponizing people that are trying to figure out their identity, life, and purpose without God leads to more confusion, pain, and hopelessness. Treating everyone who is lost as an equal, deserving of grace and love is what we are responsible for doing in Jesus' name.